Ahoy, my friends, Ryder here, and welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis video. Today, I'm going to be diving into the new Barret and Red 13 Week 6 featured draw and giving you guys my thoughts on this banner, a concise banner review, a to pull or not to pull, if you will. And that being said, let's get into it, guys. All right, so the first thing I want to do is just check out the animations. That's normally the first thing I do in these videos. So here's Barret's. It is pretty cool. I do like Barret's, I'm not gonna lie. Red 13's though, if you guys saw my last video, you guys know my opinion on Red 13's animation. It is absolute dog shit, excuse the pun, since he's kind of a dog, I guess, a little bit. But look at this, I mean, it's just so bad. I cannot fathom how they thought that making his regular attack animation a special weapon animation was a good idea. I mean, if one of you guys from Applebot is watching this video, just like drop me a comment and just explain the reasoning behind that, guys. All right, so anyways, Barret's animation though does look pretty sick. I am pretty psyched on this. It's not the coolest animation I've ever seen, not gonna lie, but it is pretty cool. All right. Now moving on, let's try on the costume, guys. All right, let's see what is going on with this. Oh, at first I wasn't really too keen on his glove, but actually I think it's pretty sick. All right, so this, it looks like looks like he's got like a Shinra Power Company tag on there. Doesn't really feel like Barret would do that. Oh, that's why. So it does have the Shinra Power Company like symbol on the weapon right here, but it looks like he has had Marlene take her purple crayon and draw to sketch off the emblem of Shinra. But then, oh no, okay. He put a tear through the Shinra mark on his jacket. Okay, so it does make sense. I was about to say, dude, Barret, out of all people, would not be rocking a frickin' Shinra jacket. All right, but other than that, which I think is interesting, this little scribble though, it does look like Marlene did it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it does look like that. Other than that, I think he looks pretty badass, guys. Like, straight up, he looks cool. And this is like a rare treat, right, in Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. For all you new players that are just now joining the channel and coming into the game, like, Barret has not seen a lot of love in this game. This is his second costume on banner ever. His first one came with the Murasame battle garb, which was the first banner ever in Ever Crisis. So I don't know how many months it's been since then. We just had the 6-month anniversary and we're 6 weeks into it. So we're like we're between 7 and 8 months into the game. He's now just getting his second banner. So we can expect a third banner for him around 16 months into the game, guys. So these are extremely rare for Barret, all right? Hopefully that changes though. All right, I do like the color of the pants right here, the pockets with the kind of neon glow. The boots look super sick. I do like the costume. It looks like the little, I don't know what you would call that, the little satchel he's got going on right there. Has some little movement animation. The gun does look pretty sick. I like his burly kind of shoulder armor as well. Does look like he has a necklace here with just a plain star on it. Other than that, the costume, I mean, he looks good, guys. I'm not gonna lie, he does look good. So it is cool. For all you Barret fans out there, I think that they could have done worse. So I like it, guys. I think it's cool. And the effects of it, I'm not going to lie, are really interesting. All right, so moving on from the aesthetics of the actual costume itself. Okay, so in my last Week 6 Arrives video where I give you guys a overview of all the updates that came to the game, etc., I gave like a quick tier rank for basically both of the weapons in the costume. The costume I gave A+, because I wanted some time to think about how I thought this costume would fare into the game. And for the weapon, I gave it an A ranking, and Red 13s I gave an S ranking. Actually, an S minus because the animation just purely sucks. But that being said, let's actually dive into this, and we'll check out everything that has to do with these weapons to help you guys figure out if you're going to pull for them or not. All right, so let's jump into this here. All right, so I'm going to preface this with a couple things that are kind of relevant to the overall game as of right now. I do not think that this banner is a must pull. All right, guys, this banner, in my opinion, is not a must pull banner. There are characters that can fully break physical attack. There are characters that can fully break magic attack. All right. Red 13's weapon will be wishlistable, and there are also characters that can imperil fire and imperil ice. All right. Now, are there any weapons that imperil both at the same time? No. Is there any weapon that does magic lightning damage while also imperiling or while also breaking physical and magic attack? No. You're always going to get something new to the game. However, the first and most important thing when I give you guys these to pull or not to pull videos is this a must-pull banner? And in my opinion, the answer is no. The next most important question going into this, the weapons aside, etc., is you need to ask yourself, is Barret a character that you typically use in this game, right? Now, for me, I actually use Barret fairly often. I really like Barret's assault gun. If I had to give the assault gun a tier ranking, it would be S ranking for sure. And it's mostly because of how fast the cast time animation is on that weapon. It's extremely good in like die-hard situations where you need to get off that buff, that last buff right at the last second. And although Matt's Centipede is a fantastic weapon in the game, also an S ranking weapon, it does not have that quick casting ability, which makes it a little bit harder to make sure you get that off, plus the 5 ATB cost. So I still have a lot of value in the assault gun. Other than that, however, I don't really use Barret that much, right? I was really hoping for a Lightning Magic Arcanum set because then I could use him as a DPS while also boosting physical damage. Now, with this costume, it is like a more of a tanky based costume. I'll get into that, guys, in a second. But it is physical magic defense plus 20% and physical magic attack plus 10%. So it is kind of an interesting all around Arcanum costume. Now, the weapon itself, I think because it's magic lightning damage, it does have a bit more value than physical lightning damage because there is no magic lightning Arcanum set currently in the game. So there's no one who can really fulfill that role. Lucia does have a magic lightning weapon, but it's not as strong as an Arcanum weapon, and she doesn't have the costume to match. Now, if we go into Barret right here and we look at this weapon at base 5-star, right? Because most people pulling on this banner are going to be looking to get the costume and then piecing out of it, right? We'll build this weapon over time, and that's what I recommend doing. I don't think that it's necessary to go crazy and pull on this or to go past the costume if you are going to pull. Now, if we're looking at this weapon at base 5-star, it's going to deal 340% magic lightning damage. It will break physical attack to a potency of mid, max potency mid. And when HP is 50% or more, the magic attack is also decreased as well, immediately on potency mid, right at base 5-star. So in that regard, this weapon is really good. Now, for all of you guys that missed the Kuja's Spirit Blade, all right? So all of you Southeast Asia players, a good amount of people that were day one Steam players, people that just didn't have the crystals, even if you were a day one player. In my opinion, the Kuja Spirit Blade is an S tier weapon, hands down. That weapon is amazing. I don't use it as much just because I know a lot of people don't have it, but it's fantastic. And this is a semblance of that weapon. Now, it's not quite as good for two reasons. One, it's not non-elemental damage. So when you fight something that is resistant to lightning, you're going to be less inclined to bring this weapon into the fray. Other than that, if we go up to OB10 here, you'll see that the physical attack does go to high, but not on the first cast, even at OB10, and the magic attack break doesn't ever hit high, right? Whereas the Kuja Spirit Blade can hit high on the second cast at OB6 for both physical and magic attack, which is a fantastic break. However, for those of you guys that don't have it, this is a suitable replacement if you are looking to add to your repertoire a weapon that can break both physical and magic attack. And also, breaking physical and magic attack to mid is still going to be a pretty damn good weapon. There's only going to be a few instances in which, you know, you're going to need to break it all the way to high, essentially Bahamut fights or any type of battle where the enemy can just hit really fucking hard, you know? So I think that this is going to have a lot of use all around. I'm a little bummed it got tied to lightning. I feel like if this was non-elemental damage, it would really be a tier step up. But overall, it is a very good weapon, I think, and it will have its viability in the game for those of you guys that do pull it. Although I will say this now, I do think the costume is the true winner of this banner. The costume is, and I'm considering pulling on this banner, and it's not so much for the weapon, because I think for anyone that has the Kuja Spirit Blade, this is an easy pass. If you don't, this is definitely considerable. But for me, I would be pulling for the costume because Barret doesn't have many, right? And so I tend to use him as a buffer. A buff debuff extension duration costume would be great. However, something that raises his defenses and his offenses would also be fantastic. And that's something I can use with all elements, and we'll see that when we go look at the costume itself. Now, looking at the weapon, at OB6, it is going to unlock max potency to high on the physical attack on the second cast. All right, magic attack will stay the same. The damage will go up to 480%. And for those of you that will be building this weapon, I do recommend wishlisting it to OB6 and then letting the game take care of OB7 through 10 after that, right? There isn't a huge boost from OB6 to OB10 unless you really want to get the weapon up. Now, if we jump over to the support material, we do have ability damage 10%, magic ability damage 20%, so not bad, and then a circle sigil boost. I really like the sigil boost weapons. I think that they're very, very, very useful in a lot of situations, and so for me, that's a bonus. Now, if we go back and we pop this thing over into OB10, here it is, guys. It's going to have 513 physical attack, 664 magic attack. It's a pretty good stat for magic attack. Now, the boost magic attack will be at 46, which is about average, I would say, for something like this kind of weapon. However, they can get all the way up to 62, so it's not at the super high end. However, the magic ability potency at 52 in the second R ability slot is SSS tier. This is insane. 52 points is going to take this to instantly level 6 attack stance command gauge, magic ability damage plus 70%. Very, very strong, guys. Extremely strong. This weapon as a sub-weapon for Sephiroth's Protector's Blade is the frickin' weapon. It's extremely good in that regard. As a sub-weapon, S tier all the way, hands down, guys. All right, so those are my thoughts on the Electro Cannon. Let's go over and let's look at, actually, while we're on it, let's jump onto the Electro Armor right here. All right, so our abilities in the first slot, we have boost HP. I like HP. I don't mind HP ever, not whatsoever, in the first slot. So that's great for me. And here we have our new R ability. It is the Indomitable Soul. All right, so this is going to boost physical and magical defense 20% and physical and magic attack plus 10%. So in my opinion, this is a kind of all-around Arcanum suit. You know, it doesn't have necessarily a weapon to match it yet, but it kind of matches almost anything. And you'll see that when we jump over to Red 13's weapon here, guys. So if I jump over to Red 13's weapon, Oh, never mind. I thought that his had Indomitable Soul. Never mind what I just said right there. Anyway, so going back to the costume right here, Indomitable Soul is a new R ability, and it is kind of its own standalone Arcanum suit. I think that for those of you that do like to play Barret, and I am one of those players, I like Barret a lot. I think that his story is fantastic. It's heartwarming. He takes care of Marlene. You know, I understand why he's a little jaded and, you know, just kind of a bit angry at the world. And I can feel that, you know, from him. So I just like him as a character. I always have. And, you know, it's a little bit saddening that they don't always give him something awesome in the game. And I think that this is a really interesting thing to give him because he, for me, is primarily a buffer slash defensive character slash support character, right? And this costume really enables him to do that. It not only increases his DPS capacity, but also really solidifies him into that kind of tankish role. And so I think this costume is, for me, in the moment, I would say this costume is like A+/S- tier. It is very good. However, if you're not playing Barret very often, I don't think that this is necessary. I mean, if you are interested in playing Barret, if you love the character and you want a reason to play the character, it's a great time to jump in on him, right? For me, I think that I would just like something, you know, other than the scrap armor and other than the fiery cape, which is all we've had for almost 8 months. But do I want to pull all the way through on this banner for a weapon that I'll probably very rarely use, but a costume that I could probably use almost all the time? I would probably use this costume every single time I use Barret based on what I have right now. It's a very good costume in my opinion. So I think that, you know, you just have to kind of ask yourself the right question when it comes to if you want to pull on these banners or not. And I'll go into those questions here in a second. But before we do that, let's at least go over and check out Red 13's IVcaller. So here it is at level 120, base 5-star. The growing Ivy has a 3 ATB cost. 3 ATB cost, so keep that in mind. All right? It can imperil fire from mid to high and ice from mid to high, base 5-star. Great weapon. Right off the bat, fantastic weapon. The R abilities, attack at 40 right off the bat, amazing. And the boost ability potency at 12, not bad, but also good, right? Now, if we take it up to OB6, right? Both of the imperils instantly hit high on the first cast. That's really good, all right? The damage is going to go up to 360%, right? But still, the ATB cost is 3. So even though this is a lower damage at OB10, it's 420, it is going to be slowly catching up over time just based on how fast he's going to be able to do this. Plus the fact that he can use this to break sigils as well, kind of like using, you know, like a Blizzara blow to break sigils or something because it's a faster cast. Now the R abilities at OB6 are going to take it to boost attack 54, boost ability potency 27, which is also really good. Now this weapon as of right now is pretty damn good, right? However, the thing that really makes this weapon good is the support materia, right? So in the first slot, ability damage plus 10%, nothing crazy. But in the second and third slot, we have ice ability damage plus 30%, fire ability damage plus 30%. Pair this with the Hellhound costume that just dropped, guys, and Red 13 is an ice fire monster out there right now, imperiling everything he touches. Plus, you slot in a Blizzara blow right here and a Fire blow, and he is just going to be doing insane damage, guys. I'm telling you, he's really going to be the king of ice and flame. All right, so let's go over to OB10 right here. Physical attack 583, magic attack 564. The damage will take a cap at 420%. The imperils are both going to be instant high tier. The R ability has attack hitting the maximum potency of 62 right here. absolutely fantastic, with the ability potency hitting 39, which is standard right here. So anything normally like any of the Arcanum weapons are going to have their elemental potency hit 39. So this is a really good place for this ability potency to get to right here, which if we go look at it, is going to take us to attack stance command gauge max, physical magic plus 30%, guys. So all in all, really good weapon right here for Red 13. Do I recommend pulling on the banner for Red 13's weapon? No, I do not recommend pulling on this banner for Red 13's weapon. That is a dameda, all right? In Japanese, dameda. However, as soon as this weapon is available for wishlist, guys, wishlist it immediately. Take this weapon to OB1, OB6, whatever you need to do, just get a single copy. This weapon is going to be great at base 5-star. So if you are pulling for Barret and you happen to pick up one of these along the way, it's going to be a nice bonus on top of pulling for the costume and the weapon, guys. So yeah, that's going to basically sum up my banner review for this. So let's recap really quick. I know a lot of you guys are holding on to crystals, waiting to see what's coming. This banner is going to end on April 28th. All right. The Easter banners are going to end on April 21st. Okay. Now, I have an inkling of a feeling that a new crossover banner may be on the horizon, guys. Now, I know we just had one, but hear me out. Final Fantasy XVI, the Rising Tide DLC is going to drop this month. Final Fantasy Brave Exvius just introduced a Final Fantasy XVI collaboration. Now, I know the studio that made Final Fantasy XVI is kind of hard to work with when it comes to making these collaborations. They're very busy on their own projects, guys. So it makes sense, and especially because War of the Visions, which is another Final Fantasy mobile gacha game, is about to have its 4-year anniversary. I think on I think they just had their 4-year anniversary, but it was a bit lackluster. My thought is that I think they may introduce a crossover for Final Fantasy XVI, because if I was a part of this company, I would just have them introduce a crossover for Brave Exvius, War of the Visions, and Ever Crisis at the same time. If the company was going to designate time to work on a crossover, they might as well get all of them done at the same point, right? So at the very least, my recommendation is to wait until the 18th or so, because I think that's when the Rising Tide DLC comes out. And if we don't hear anything about it by then maybe it's a bust and maybe I'm totally wrong, right? But I have a feeling that there's a chance that that might come. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be holding off for now just to see, But if you guys were waiting to see which one of these to pull, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, if you don't have a Fire Arcanum set or a Water Arcanum set at all, not just like a physical one, but like none. If you're a new player, you don't have a Fire Arcanum or a Water Arcanum, you can never go wrong with pulling for the Elemental Arcanum sets. So Tifa's new Easter costume is a fantastic pull for any account that does not have a Water Arcanum. Aerith's is a fantastic pull for any account that doesn't have a Fire Arcanum. Barret's, however, is going to be really great for the AoE physical magic attack break, and it's going to give you a great costume that's going to allow Barret to join your team a lot more often. So if you're a fan of Barret, you're not going to go wrong with this. It is going to be powerful, I will tell you that. So I think that, however, if you do have the Kuja Spirit Blade, you don't really use Barret, it's definitely a pass. If you love Barret and you want to use him, it's definitely worth the pull. However, at the end of the day, I say wait till April 18th or the 19th. Just wait to see if we're going to get a Final Fantasy XVI crossover, because if we are, that's going to be insane, guys. Red 13's weapon is going to be wishlistable in the future. Wait to get it then. And essentially, these are my thoughts on the banner. So either way, if you guys are going to pull out there today, I wish you guys the best of luck. I really want to get this costume for Barret. But as you can see, I don't have that many crystals. I maybe have like around 40 something thousand if I were to collect my gift box, but that's not enough for 2 banners. So especially if there is a crossover banner on the horizon, which would mean that essentially you want to pull as close as you can to OB6 on that. All right, guys, that is going to conclude my thoughts on this video for the day. I hope it does help you guys. If it does help you, if this video was entertaining and helpful for you guys in figuring out if you want to pull for the banner or not, don't forget to drop a like on the video. And if you're keen for future content with your boy, then drop a subscribe to my channel. I always appreciate it. That being said, I hope you all have a wonderful night. Take care and peace.